Coming up on WTV News, Wartburg's annual campus security and fire safety report says liquor and drug arrests have gone up.
Plus, a Wartburg alum had a close encounter in the Kenya Mall shooting last month.
And we'll find out what makes Wartburg biology students stressed about their heavy workloads during Hell Week. WTV News starts now.
You're watching WTV News, live on Wartburg Television. From the Grant Price Studio. Breaking news, local coverage, and sports. This is WTV News.
Good evening and welcome to WTV News. I'm Caitlin Harback.
And I'm Elizabeth Jewett.
Wartburg's annual campus security and safety report has been released for the 2012 calendar year.
While almost all offenses have remained similar to past years, the number of drug and alcohol violations have increased significantly. There were 19 combined drug arrests and referrals in 2012, compared to only 7 in 2011. The only drug abused was marijuana. Campus Security Director John Myers says there have been no drug arrests so far in 2013. Residential Life Director Wes Brooks says the increased numbers are part of a nationwide issue.
The national trend is that additional marijuana use is occurring as early as junior high. Even there's an increase in junior high students smoking marijuana. So obviously that trend is carrying out through high school and certainly into college.
And there are 271 combined alcohol referrals and arrests in 2012 compared to only 253 in 2011. The difference between an arrest and a referral is that an arrest involves the police, whereas a referral is handled by campus security. The numbers are counted separately, so one incident equals an arrest or a referral, not both. Campus Security Director John Myers says that students handle getting an arrest or referral in a variety of different ways.
They mature, and as they move along through the years, they either move off campus and take the problem with them, or they learn the error of their ways and quit using it, or they withdraw and they're no longer students.
They also say that marijuana arrests can be difficult because there needs to be physical evidence. So even if there is an obvious odor or a student admits to smoking, they might not get in trouble.
A 2003 Wartburg graduate had a close encounter with the deadly mall shooting in Nairobi, Kenya last month. Jason Bell was in Nairobi's Westgate Mall the day before the shooting. He left the next morning before Al-Shabaab terrorists shot and killed more than 60 people in the mall. He flew into Kenya that week, where he worked for many years as a United Nations refugee specialist. Bell's father, Scott Bell, says after visiting Nairobi last June, he is sad to see what has happened to something important in his son's life.
Part of the reason we went there was to just kind of see Jason's environment. He's been there for a long time and wants to continue to work there. Really saddened to see the footage from this and understand what everybody is going through. And really, the Kenyan people are just very, very sweet, nice, engaging people.
1 week, 1 class, and 4 tests. 4 third-year biology students taking anatomy and physiology. This is known as Hell Week.
But what is the purpose behind the multiple tests? WTV's Jeannie Edson looks beyond the stigma of Hell Week and the motivation behind it.
There's a whole lot of hype with Hell Week, and that it's like, oh my gosh, 4 tests, 1 class, and I know I was part of some of that, but at the same time, it was a good challenge for me.
Anatomy and physiology professor Dr. Ed Weston says the week helps mimic the stresses of medical school, giving students a taste of their future.
The way you're going to be assessed when you're there is through exams, one exam after another. So what better way to prepare our students for optometry school, or dental school, or med school, or nursing school? All these things that require lots of exams in the educational process, but then the passing of exams to become a licensed practitioner.
4th year Ellen Scott completed the course 2 years ago and says in retrospect the stresses of the week contributed to her success.
I would definitely say that the time management skills improved for me from these Hell Weeks.
Along with her classmates, Dersher will complete several more Hell Weeks throughout the year-long course and ultimately hope to become part of the roughly 94% of Wartburg graduates that are accepted into medical school. Dr. Weston says this percentage is a reflection of students learning to cope with the compounded stress.
There's a certain pressure to that I want to help train the students to deal with.
Reporting for WTV News, I'm Jeannie Edson.
Dr. Weston also said he also serves as an advisor to any students who may have difficulty dealing with the pressures of Hell Week.
Next on WTV News, Waverly firefighters continue to keep their city safe with the support of the community and the families involved.
And one Wartburg organization plays video games to fight cancer. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
All around the country, firefighters are teaching how to prevent fires and be safe around them as part of National Fire and Safety Prevention Week.
WTV's Jacqueline Schutte talked to Waverly's own fire department and how they protect their community. Jackie?
The fire department responds to 120 calls per year and is made up completely of volunteers. They're willing to help out their community in any way they can.
If somebody calls and they don't know who to call for their problem, they call the fire department. So you need to be able to handle cats in the trees and missing people, water rescues, car accidents.
Like most other small-town fire departments, they don't receive very much money. But the department says they're lucky to be in Waverly.
We have a community that supports us very well. I know of some of the other struggles with the communities around us. A lot of times it's hard to keep up to date on the equipment.
The city allocates $160,000 for equipment and wages. However, the average cost for uniform, $5,000. And pay for the firefighters? Only $6 per call. And the trucks are multi-million dollars. All of that equipment has to be updated every 10 years.
I'll get water to them when they holler that they're ready for water.
Mike Sabursky is 79 years old and has been a firefighter for 47 years. He says what they do is something that can't be bought.
Our motto is to protect life and property. And if I can help somebody out, that's what I want to do.
Just the most meaningful thing for me is just being able to help people.
It's something that is taught at a young age for many on the Waverly Fire Department. They have 5 father-son teams. Wartburg student Jordan Miller is a 4th-generation firefighter.
And I've always known that I wanted to be a firefighter someday. So when the time came, I felt like it was my chance.
I was thrilled when he decided he wanted to join.
The firefighters put themselves in potentially life-threatening situations to help their community. And at the end of the day, they have each other.
And when you get on a fire call, you may be dependent upon him to save your life. You got to be friends. So, and we are. We might squabble here a little bit, but not on a fire ground.
The guys are your best men in your weddings, and sometimes they're your pallbearers at your funeral. You get some very close bonds down here, and I can't think of a more dedicated bunch that I would want to be a part of than the fire department.
We're family. That's all I can say is we're family.
Firefighters say the most rewarding part about their volunteering is teaching kids about fire prevention. Kevin Miller says he's taught around 8,000 kids how to be safe around fire.
Bartles residents will be able to fully enjoy the Waverly community due to a recent donation. CUNA Mutual Foundation has donated $25,000 to Bartles to go towards the purchase of a new minibus. The Leisure Service Department plans to use the new bus for things like rides in the country and day trips to various places around the Cedar Valley.
They really understood the need for us to make life good for our residents, and they were very quick to grasp how important it was to us and what we could accomplish with it. So I was pleasantly surprised because it was a larger amount than they usually do, but not surprised that they understood the need that we had.
A group of Wartburg students will be playing video games for 25 hours on October 20th. The Wartburg College Forensics team is taking part in the Extra Life Gaming Marathon to raise money for a special cause. Their goal is to raise $1,000 to donate to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital in Iowa City. Anyone is welcome to meet in the CAC room 134 next Sunday to play games, donate, and have fun.
Our proceeds go directly to the Iowa University Children's Hospital. So it's kind of like running a 5K or a marathon, except for people that can't really run a marathon.
Coming up on WTV News, a Wartburg alum returns to his college roots to bring clean water to countries overseas.
And later on in sports night, the volleyball team was in action last Tuesday. Would Buena Vista end the Knights Iowa Conference regular season 30-set streak? A Wartburg alum is connecting with 2 international students to make clean water more accessible to Ethiopians.
WTV's Kristen Canning is here with the story. Kristen?
Thank you, Caitlin. The need for clean water is crucial in rural Africa, and I spoke with an alumnus who is working to solve that problem through an organization called Water to Thrive.
Water. It's something we use every day. It's essential to basic life and quality of life, yet we don't even think about using it. Wartburg alumnus Ed Charlo sees things differently. As a founding board member for the nonprofit Water to Thrive, Charlo travels around the country to bring awareness to the water crisis in Ethiopia. Charlo and a few friends started the organization after doing a study on world hunger and poverty. Water to Thrive has funded 400 wells since its start in 2007.
I don't know if it's possible to explain how long it might take. We're often asked a question, when will you be done? It'll never happen in our lifetime, your lifetime, or our grandchildren's lifetimes. The need is so strong.
After his second trip to Ethiopia in August, Charlo is back at Wartburg to get more students involved in Water to Thrive.
On campus this week, I met with several folks who are interested in, at this point, starting a Water to Thrive organization on campus.
Charlo also visited Waverly Shell Rock Middle School to give a presentation. Last year, Charlo connected with 2 Wartburg International students to fund 2 more $5,000 wells. Sibu Sisu Kunene from Swaziland and Aman Gebramariam from Ethiopia applied for a Davis Projects for Peace grant to fund their wells.
I've never lived under conditions where I had to wonder if I could have clean water the next day. And so it's hard sometimes to empathize with the situation of people who are in that situation.
This summer, Kunene and Gebramarian visited Ethiopia with Charlo to present one of the finished wells. Gebramarian's Ethiopian heritage gives him a special connection to Water to Thrive. He hopes to continue working with the organization.
I haven't promised myself to them, but I promised myself that I should be able to actually fundraise one more well and maybe partner up with different people and then just sponsor one. So that's my future goal.
For Charlo, forming friendships with Wartburg students is just a benefit of his work.
I get out of it, of course, it lifts my heart to see young people paying attention and knowing that they too can help change this world in which we live.
Charlo says if 40 Lutheran colleges with an average of 1,000 students got involved and each student gave only $10, Water to Thrive would be able to build 80 wells. Reporting for WTV, I'm Kristen Canning.
Charlo says anyone that is interested in donating to Water to Thrive can write a check or donate online at watertothrive.org. Students can also go to the CCE to get involved in the organization.
Thank you, Kristen. President Obama says the Senate is moving closer to a deal to reopen the federal government. Senate leaders are negotiating at the White House when they've rejected a House GOP plan next week. This is the 14th day in the government shutdown. If a compromise is made early this week, the government could reopen as soon as this Thursday.
A California man has been found alive after living in the wilderness for 19 days. 72-year-old Gene Penaflor was hunting in the Mendocino National Forest when he fell unconscious and woke up not knowing where he was. He survived for 3 weeks by eating lizards, squirrels, and even algae. A search party found him on Saturday.
The U.S. has brought an alleged al-Qaeda operative from Libya to New York today. Abu Anas al-Libi is accused of participating in the U.S. Embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania 15 years ago. U.S. officials say Libi was a member of al-Qaeda at the time of the bombings. He is scheduled to appear before a federal official in New York City tomorrow.
3 bikers have been charged in connection with a motorcycle accident that went viral. According to the district attorney's office, Craig Wright and Reginald Chance were indicted this Friday. A third man, Robert Sims, was charged Thursday. Authorities say Alexander Lean was chased after bumping into a biker last September. Bikers dragged him out of his car and beat him.
Wartburg is looking ahead to the future on how to improve sustainability. Net Impact is working to better the Human Impact Plus Profit Score, also known as HIP. HIP scoring determines how sustainable and socially responsible people and businesses are. Net Impact hopes to get more of the student body involved in their Small Steps campaign in order to improve their HIP score and accomplish their goal of being a waste-free campus by 2020.
The college has the endowment. It's already invested in a lot of different funds, and we are then, as a group, going to kind of take on this challenge of looking at the investments that it currently has and how we could make that more HIP. So we're going to look at the HIP score right now and how we could maybe better that in the future.
Coming up next after the break.
What does the fox say?
What does the fox say? Wartburg's Ritter Corps performed their own version of the viral YouTube video at Castle Capers this homecoming weekend.
And will the Wartburg football team end homecoming week with a win? Find out later on Sports Night.
Wartburg students and alumni celebrated homecoming this past week and truly did protect this castle. Kyle Scobie and Ellen Scott were crowned this year's homecoming king and queen. Part of homecoming was Castle Capers, where Wartburg students showed off their talent. One of the highlights was Ritter Corps' version of the viral video, What Does the Fox Say? But Ritter Corps director Dr. Lee Nelson says that the performance wasn't their first choice.
They had a different plan initially, but it was too similar to another act that's taking place, so they had to do a last-minute substitution, and somehow they came across this fox song and asked if they could do something like that, and I said go for it.
And thank you for joining us for WTV News. Stay tuned for Sports Night.
Have a great night.